because we're a small state, a retail state in terms of the political environment, I do eat a lot of chicken, or a lot of things that taste like chicken. And I get around and see the people of Vermont quite a lot. Some of my detractors make fun of that, but I think it's very important, and it's that personal contact on a regular basis that leads me to the initiative that I want to talk about this morning. There are so many reasons why this is critical. Just recently we saw in upstate New York some fatalities along the interstate highway, the Northway as it's called in the Adirondack region, because of lack of cell service and cars going off the road and people unable to get help, an elderly gentleman who froze to death. And it's just important from the standpoint of public safety. It's also a matter of economic success. I was at a farm equipment dealership in what we call the Northeast Kingdom. That's the northeast corner of Vermont. It's sparsely populated. It's the last part of the state that got electricity in the 60s, and the last state highway paved was up in that part of Vermont. And this farm equipment dealer on that particular day was in quite a tizzy, and I asked, well, what's the problem? And he said, well, I just got word from my supplier that he's not going to accept any more orders except over the internet, and we don't have access here. Well, that's a problem, Houston, and so it's important from an economic standpoint. The third story I'll tell you is, did you hear about the 4 surgeons? No, it's not a riddle. There were 4 surgeons from Boston who were required to be within 4 hours of their operating room. So they weren't on call in the ER, but had to be within that distance in order to fulfill their responsibilities. So they came to a ski area in central Vermont, and there's no cell service there. And they were quoted in our local paper as saying, I think this is an exact quote, "We'll never come here again," unquote. So from a travel and tourism standpoint, it's important that we have universal access as well. While business leaders have recognized the need for innovation, political leaders have been fairly slow to respond. Maybe elected officials specifically slow to recognize the value of innovation as the most effective means of improving education systems, strengthening the economy, and creating more and better paying jobs. So we have an international economic environment now that is such that other countries are rapidly gaining ground on us. We just can't afford, I don't believe, to be less committed to innovation in our economy or education system than other countries. We've got to ensure the prosperity and peace of mind of every future generation, and that requires innovation. For me, that's the bottom line. Well, 2 months ago, I stood before our state legislature and laid out a vision for where I believe we must take Vermont, and I outlined a plan to get us there. I call it the Vermont Way Forward. The Vermont Way Forward is a model that takes our economy in a new direction. It empowers our balanced, practical environmental values and leverages them into good-paying jobs by making Vermont a world center for environmental science and engineering. It also directs our educational system to teach tomorrow's leaders the skills they need to compete in the global economy by injecting innovation into our classrooms, finding ways to augment our science, technology, engineering, and mathematics curriculum. And more importantly, it revolutionizes our telecommunications infrastructure by setting the goal of making Vermont the nation's first e-state, where quality data and cellular voice coverage and high-speed broadband are available to every Vermonter anywhere within our borders, anytime, by 2010. As Tom graciously noted, that's really a qualitative difference from previous objectives. When I took office, I outlined a goal of increasing the percentage of cell coverage and broadband access by certain percentages over time. But what I want to do is achieve universal access to broadband and wireless technology, affordable access, and building a telecommunications infrastructure where no one is left behind. You really have the opportunity to leap over existing technology and ahead of the leading telecommunications systems that are available today. The infrastructure that we build will form the platform for economic growth and job creation across every sector of our economy. We'll be the first state where every community redefines civic involvement with local blogs, online forums, and real local content. The first state where every classroom has its own wiki and every student can access the library at Oxford, tour the Louvre, or converse with a peer halfway around the world, all from a rural home in the mountains of Vermont. You'd be the first state where entrepreneurs can experience our exceptional quality of life and our amazing landscape, all while being constantly connected to customers and markets across the globe. It's a bold vision for our state, but to me it's more than an image. I believe it can be a reality and must be. The E-State obliterates the old business paradigm, requiring employers to be near urban hubs. It opens the door for a rural state like Vermont to emerge as a magnet for companies and individuals who no longer want to fight the rat race of traffic jams and smog. Crowded subways and high crime rates just don't exist in Vermont. And universal broadband will make our state the place to be for good-paying jobs, a quality, innovative education, and a sense of real community and connectivity that you can only get from our small village centers. Whether you move to Vermont or not, we're hoping you'll make our state a test bed for products and services that depend on the population being connected. Perhaps you can think of a social application that helps a volunteer fire department or a rod and gun club serve its members. Vermont will be a great initial market because you'll know that everyone in the organization will have a connection. And remember, we're promising access not just from every home and business, but everywhere outside in Vermont. So when the firefighters arrive at the scene, they'll still be online. So think about what applications you might imagine for our state in the future. We'll enjoy an E-State government and encourage and help its towns and school districts do the same. We know we can deliver better services more effectively in this way. In Vermont, we're proud of our downtowns, our quintessential villages with shops, businesses, town halls, and friendly neighborhoods. This evening, as I've done for 2 decades, unless we get the big storm that we're seeing on the weather maps, I'll be home to moderate the town meeting in my hometown of Middlebury. A few tasks that provide me with more satisfaction in the role of town moderator. It's a tradition that dates back to our nation's founding, and it's when people of each community in Vermont gather as neighbors and friends to discuss and vote on the business of each town. Like me, the Vermonters I'll be seeing tonight know where the future lies. They know that innovation and technology enabled by our E-State initiative will ensure that our economy grows stronger and our communities closer. So I hope that all of you can someday enjoy the lifestyle we have in Vermont. With the E-State, you won't have any excuse not to. For me, it's about building a better state and a stronger country where every new generation has the opportunity to be more prosperous than the generations that came before them. It's really an honor and privilege for me to be here with all of you at this event, and I want to thank you again for the innovation, the leadership you provide in this crucial area. I look forward to working with all of you to connect to more of our fellow citizens and ensure a very bright and promising future. Thank you all very, very much.